Hey guys, I'm Gene Della Sala, president of Audioholics. Welcome back to our YouTube channel.
And I'm Hugo Rivera, vice president of marketing. Gene, how are you, man?
Doing great. Have some topics we'd like to discuss.
Awesome. I tell you this, I suggest we discuss right now the topic of the brick and mortar stores versus internet direct. Where do you get the best value?
Well, that's a good question. And in fact, we have an article that compares all the different internet direct speaker companies. And I definitely recommend looking at it and looking at how we tabulated each company to see how they fare. Let me just start by saying, back in the early 2000s, internet direct was the latest rage, right?
We know it. The internet was new, the internet started getting really popular in 98 when we were getting out of school.
Yeah, and in fact, we started Audioholics at 99. So,
exactly.
We've been around a while and pretty much we saw the whole internet direct business model develop.
Absolutely.
And back in the early 2000s, there was maybe only 3 or 4 speaker companies selling direct. And, they were doing a good job of really giving you good value for what they offered. There was Aperion Audio was one of them. SVS was getting started out. And then there was a brand that, that came on the scene and kind of took everyone by surprise. It was Axiom Audio.
Why are they these days?
I don't see much at all discussing them on the forums or anywhere in general. And I think there's a reason for that. I think, back in the day, they had some really good products for the money. They got good reviews on our site. We've always had critical issues here or there with their products, or anyone's in generals, and then companies tend to make improvements on. But the thing I noticed about Axiom is their products have pretty much had very subtle changes over the last 10 or 15 years, but their prices went up 40%.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
And then they nickel and dime you for every upgrade. If you want to have a wood veneer, that's another 30-40% premium.
Yeah.
Some of these other companies offer you standard finishes in veneers, and they give you dual binding posts. They don't charge you for an upgrade on that. And they give you standard high-performance drivers. They don't charge you for an upgrade on that. Like SVS, for example. SVS, dollar for dollar, will give you, cast baskets, high motor structures on their woofers. They give you the piano gloss finish.
Yeah.
So it's almost like some of these companies are pricing themselves into irrelevancy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's the deal. So that's why you don't hear from some of these companies anymore. The other thing now is a lot of the brick and mortar companies are selling online, so they're equalizing the playing field.
Exactly. It was kind of interesting, Gene, because when the company started selling directly online, the big thing was, wow, well, we're cutting the middleman, so therefore we can give you the absolute best price.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, of course, the brick and mortar suffered for a long time, and then they said, hey, we can go online too.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they got their action into that.
Exactly.
And the whole thing about cutting the middleman, take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Okay, because the thing is, loudspeakers are probably the highest marked up device you can buy in audio besides cables. So there's a lot of profit margin involved in speakers, and there's a lot of companies out there. And you can kind of see it because some of the brands, I'll give you an example, Pioneer. When they came out with their Andrew Jones speakers, they proved to the industry that they could cut the margins out and sell in volume and give you a good product for the dollar.
Yes.
Who would have thought you'd see the day, especially 15 years ago, where you could get a pair of towers for $130 a pair that actually sound good?
Unheard of.
So that just kind of killed the whole, we're saving you money by being internet direct, because Pioneer was selling these at Best Buy.
Yeah, I know.
Okay?
Right.
They're not the only ones. ELAC is coming out now with an internet direct affordable speaker line. Even Sony has a pretty respectable, good budget tower. So there's so much today. There's so many brands today that are coming out with great products, and they're all selling them online. And you got to look at what the return policy and what the trial period is.
Absolutely.
I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
XTZ. They just came to start selling direct in the U.S. They give you a 60-day trial period, and they pay shipping both ways.
Incredible.
SVS gives you, I think, 45 days. They pay shipping both ways. Look at our table, because some of these guys, they don't pay shipping both ways.
That's true.
They may give you a 30-day trial period, but you got to pay the shipping. And if you buy a tower and you don't like it, you could be stuck spending $100 or $150 to send them back.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think the smart companies, they kind of see what's going on, and when they get in the game, they follow the rules of the game.
Right.
Okay. Good example is DD Audio, who's trying to get into the home audio business, And immediately, the first thing they did is they came up with their 30-day audition.
Right.
You know? So it's like, if you don't like it, ship it back. They take care of the shipping.
And didn't RSL do that as well?
Yeah, that's true. RSL is doing that as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I mean, you know, to me, guys, when a company is willing to pay shipping both ways, that means, to me, that they have a lot of confidence in their product.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's so true, Gene. Especially, it's funny you mention RSL because these people, you know, we know them pretty well and they put so much work into their product, you know. It's just amazing the amount of work and passion that goes into this product, the amount of testing. And, of course, they have no issues whatsoever with taking the product back if there's a problem.
Right, yeah.
know?
I mean, it's great. I mean, customer service goes a long way. All the brands we mentioned today have, you know, pretty much great customer service.
Great
you know,
job.
that's just something that goes a mile, miles and miles and miles, is that they stand behind their products. They give you good warranties. The risk-free trial is great. Get a couple of them in your house to see which one you like better in your own listening space. 'Cause that's what, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter about the price. It doesn't matter about if you're doing a blind test, if you're doing a test with kosher chicken fat. What matters is how the thing sounds to you, and you got to live with it too. It's not just about the sound, but it's about the aesthetics too.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you want something that looks good, that blends into the room decor. So there's a lot of factors here, and I hope that this article that we have, the Internet Direct Speaker comparison, will give you guys some guidance on the brands you should really look more closely at.
Absolutely. Because, honest to God, there's some good deals out there.
There really are. This is the best. You know, I'll take it from my friend Paul Scarpelli. He basically said in a recent article, this is the best era of electronics. You're getting the best products these days for the best value. It's up to you guys to educate yourself on what works best for you.
Exactly. Exactly. I couldn't have said it best. So I think in that on that note, you know, we should invite our viewers to go ahead and comment below and, you know, let us know if you're in the market for something. Let us know if you're looking at the brick and mortars or are you looking at the Internet Direct. You know, what are you doing? How are you basing your research? You know, what?
And I will say, if I could say one more thing, don't discount the little guys, man. I mean, there's a company called Salk Sound. They're all custom-made products, the most beautiful cabinets you see. Excellent drivers they use. I mean, there's a lot of little guys popping up like this.
It's true.
And there's speaker companies from Australia trying to get into the game too.
I'll tell you what, Gene, the interesting thing about these newcomers is the fact that they're so passionate about the field.
Right.
And they really and truly want to put out a good product.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, because a lot of these people, these new people that are coming up, they're kind of like us. They're complete, like, audio enthusiasts, you know? I mean, they're completely into this field and they do it for the love of it.
Yes.
Big difference when that's the case, okay? Because they don't have like 20 bean counters basically dictating how a product needs to be developed.
I think the name of that brand is like Carry Acoustics or
Carry
something like
Acoustics,
that.
I
Yeah,
think.
we've been looking at them. They look like interesting products.
Yeah, in fact, Gene, I'll tell you what, their cabinet finishes is actually done by real woodworkers. I mean, these guys are experts on that stuff. It's beautiful.
Yeah, that's another thing to look at, man. If you want this to be aesthetically pleasing in your room, you know, getting a nice veneer instead of a cheap vinyl wrap goes a long way.
Yeah, the wood is actually, it's one of the top quality woods in Australia, and it's real artisans, the ones that do the work. So
I like that.
I was impressed when I went to the website.
Furniture that sounds good.
Yeah, the funny thing is that they're trying to get their products from Australia here to Colorado, and they're going to start distributing from Colorado.
Oh, well, we got to look. You know what? Stay tuned to the site because you're going to be seeing a lot of new brands that we're going to be covering. We're getting a new infusion of products into Audioholics from brands we don't normally cover. We're trying to give everybody an equal chance here.
Absolutely. Awesome. So with that said, let us know what you think and click like if you like this video, share it with your friends, and until next time, keep listening.